So, thank you all for getting up so early. Senioritis is really a thing. It's, 10 a.m. on Sunday, last ShmooCon, and our first talk. So thank you all for being here. This is Detecting BLE Trackers for the Price of a Gas Station Hot Dog.
Thank you very much. Hey, everybody, good morning.
And what the hell are you all doing awake?
We didn't think anybody was going to show up, so we actually don't have a presentation today. So, we made this slide right now.
Live demo. Paul did that earlier, and there's now glass all over the floor. Thanks, Paul.
So
and speaking of thanks, Dave, thank you for the bourbon.
Yeah.
Because drinking bourbon at 10 a.m. is appropriate.
There is cake up front.
For the record, for you youngsters, this is not chugging bourbon, okay? This is good stuff. Yeah. No chugging bourbon or shots of bourbon.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I want to tell a story real quick. So recently, I was consulted on a potential domestic violence case. And what became very clear was there was a sense of patterns at the grocery store, outside of work, sometimes on my way home, or not my way home. She felt threatened, okay? He hadn't done anything yet, but she was worried that he was going to. He didn't need to track her. He wasn't following her. He always knew where she was. Hi, my name's Bill.
And hi, my name's Larry.
Go ahead, Larry, introduce yourself.
We're here to pump you up, yeah. I'm Larry. I'm the Vice President of Services at Finite State, and I've been a pen tester for close to 2 decades. I got out of pen testing to do something I thought I'd punch myself in the face about called thought leadership. But now I'm back doing pen testing and leading services teams and all that type of stuff, and who'd ever think somebody like me would get promoted to Vice President? Like, I don't look like a vice president.
You don't, but you're beautiful.
Here we are. But I also love doing all sorts of other wireless type of things.
So I'll go and introduce myself. My name's Bill. I'm one of the founders of SecKC out of Kansas City. So if any of you all have never been to one of my talks, there's some rules that you need to know. Like, if anyone yells, "Bill, you suck," during one of my talks, more than likely, not necessarily, that might be my friend doing that. Also, right, so there we go. If anybody yells hat, like what may have just happened, these were the people that we would not let on our team last night, and we made a joke, and we told them that if they said hat during our talk, we would consider letting them on our team. We're not considering letting them on our team. It's really just a joke. As you can see, we are the winners of ShmooCon. Go team hat. Yeah. So thank you. But I just do want to take a real quick second. ShmooCon means a ton to me. I know, Larry.
Here.
It means a ton to you. Really, I do appreciate everybody getting up so early, being with us here. I just want to, so for any of the youngsters in the crowd, these types of conferences, especially the conferences this size, are where you're going to meet your friends for life, potentially. Larry and Paul, Trent, and I, these are where we met. We met way, 20 years ago at little cons like this, just by going up and introducing and meeting each other. And now it's 20 years later, and we're still really, really good friends.
And you're still an asshole.
And I am, yeah. Yeah, Bill, you suck. Yeah. So what are we going to be doing today? So we're going to be building a personal spy device. It's actually really cool. I think you guys are going to like it. For uncovering hidden BLE trackers, right? So we've all seen these things before, like the air tags or the tiles or whatever. But I don't know if you guys have been on Temu or AliExpress. There's other ones that don't have names that we can pronounce.
Oh yeah.
But as we're kind of doing this talk, it's really not necessarily about the uncovering BLE. Larry will go into great understanding. When you walk out of here, you will totally understand how those trackers work. But what we also want to show you is that building these types of devices is really, really easy. And if you have, like, if you're in this talk, if you got up on Sunday at 10 a.m., you know, to be here, you can build this today. And we want to make sure that we show you how that works and how easy that is. That's really what the talk is about.
And for some of you, we've got some surprises towards the end.
Most of you.
Good, yeah.
So, all right. Does anybody here know how you can identify an Android user? All right. So the answer
that
is
guy right there.
Yeah. So the answer is you say that you're doing anything, and they say my Android phone could do that 6 years ago. Like, so when Larry and I were talking about putting together this talk, Paul asked Dorian, birthday boy down here, was like, why do I even need this? My Android phone can do that. Yeah, great, right? Like that's great. So there are applications on your phone, and yes, your phone has the capability of doing this. That can find trackers, those kind of things. But Larry, as you looked into it.
And technically, to start out, we focus specifically on the Apple AirTags. And up until a couple of months ago, no, your Android phone couldn't do it. I mean, you could, but you needed a third-party app that needed to be running to do the detection, which drained your batteries because it was using the Bluetooth low-energy stuff for something that wasn't built into the operating system. Android just did release some capabilities within the CoreOS to be able to do AirTag detection just like the Apple ecosystem can. The problem is that maybe not everybody knows how to configure it. You have lots of other devices. You also want to learn about microcontrollers and how Bluetooth low energy works. So yeah, maybe your phone can do it, but let's do something better. Let's do something different. Let's build something.
Well, actually, that kind of leads right into it. So more than likely, how many of you have that drawer or that box or whatever that's full of this shit? Right, it's full of this shit, and we kept talking about, man, I know this thing can do something cool, and I'm going to keep it because someday I'm going to use it to do something. We've all got it, right? And so this, what we wanted to do, as Larry and I were talking, putting this together, show you. Let's use a very common microcontroller that might be in badges or that you might just have laying around, and show you how easy it is to actually do and build something using that type of equipment, because we've all got it, right? We've all got it somewhere.
So put it to good use.
Yeah.
But of course, we're going to introduce you to a whole bunch of new equipment for you to buy and put in a drawer and not use, right? No, you're going to go use it. Come on now.
So Larry, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah. All right. So. For us to understand about our Apple AirTags and our Bluetooth low-energy trackers, we need to know a little bit about Bluetooth. I'm sorry, there's going to be there won't actually be math, but we'll do some hex packet decoding and that type of stuff. And it's only 10 a.m., right? No one told me there would be packet decoding in hex, right? Whose bourbon is whose?
This one's mine.
It's self-sterilizing. It's fine.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, yes, it is. You can't smell it from there?
It's good. So let's get a little bit of background on some Bluetooth low energy so that we can figure out how to find some of these trackers. Well, just like every other presenter nowadays, I used AI to generate some art. And King Harold was the inspiration for naming of Bluetooth. And this is what AI thinks King Harold eating a hot dog looks like. Okay, so it's probably some sort of gas station hot dog. All right, so Bluetooth, specifically when we think about Bluetooth Classic, operates in the 2.4 gigahertz ISM band. It has 79 channels in use, channels number 0 through 78. And it uses frequency hopping spread spectrum. So it uses the entirety of the 2.4 gigahertz ISM band with little teeny channels that it hops between those channels, those really small channels. It hops between those channels 1,600 times a second. I didn't do it. Uh-oh.
Swashbuckler and hat.
We'll keep going. All right, so hops 1,600 times a second. but it hops each device uniquely, has its own unique channel hopping pattern based on the Bluetooth address or the BD adder. It's a 48-bit compliant MAC address. Right, so effectively, every Bluetooth Classic device has its own unique channel hopping pattern. And if you don't know the BD adder, you can't calculate the channel hopping pattern to find where these devices are actually transmitting. You can find them, that's how it works, and that's only when these devices are in discoverable mode, which they are doing some communication to announce the BD adder so then you can calculate the channel hopping pattern and synchronize all that stuff. The problem is because it does all of that channel hopping, it's really hard to discover Bluetooth devices that are not in discoverable mode. And they're only in discoverable mode for very short periods of time. So if they were using this for some of our trackers, it would be very, very difficult for us to find these trackers.
So I'm going to interrupt.
They're just not broadcasting.
I just want to interrupt for a second. When we get to the hex part and we don't have slides, we're all good if we just get up here and speak hex, right? We'll all be tracking that just fine. No slides. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Right, yeah. We're gonna put her to work. We're gonna have her say hot dog a bunch of times.
Hot dog. Hot dog. Can you tell we're stalling to get the video back? Hot dog. It's all right. So I just moved to the next slide. Let me describe it for you. No, I will not do that. But when the AI art comes back up, you want me to unplug this thing and plug it back in? PC load letter? What?
It's scared of Paul because he broke the printer.
My Android phone. Oh, it's flashing. It's doing things.
6 years ago.
Survey says.
Hey! Hey, give it up for AV team. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Watch your step over there with the broken glass.
And this is
That was here when we got here.
And this is what AI thinks a Bluetooth-enabled hot dog looks like. All right. So, Bluetooth Low Energy is a drastic departure from the Bluetooth Classic. It was originally forked by Nokia in the 2000s to be much more simple for consumers to use, to have it be less complex from the technology stack, make it easier to implement, and ultimately easier for the end users to use and make it faster for joining these devices. As a result, they simplified the protocol, and this simplification gave us a couple of opportunities to reduce the overall security, in my opinion, of some of the Bluetooth Classic stuff. Specifically, we reduced the number of channels that we use, frequency hopping spread spectrum, from effectively 8079 to half that, to 40. 37 of those channels are used for data, and 3 of them are used for continuous advertisements. Hey, I'm here, come connect to me. Wait, they didn't do that before. Now that means those advertisements are sending out some data about the individual device. Hey, come connect to me. I'm a iPhone. I'm a LG TV. I have some capabilities. They're continuously doing that. Some other interesting things now is that it has a predictable channel hopping pattern is no longer unique and sort of hidden. If we can observe a device beaconing on one of these advertising channels, we know where the next hop will be, and the next hop, and the next hop, and oh hey, it's advertising again. It's on that advertising channel, and we can predict now next hop and next hop. So we can actually follow along some of these conversations quite easily now. As a result, doing some interactivity, because they are announcing themselves all the time with some data about the device itself, and we can follow along the data communications, makes it a heck of a lot easier for us to discover and do some interaction with. All right, I told you there'd be hex. There will be hex, I promise. Okay. So where Bluetooth Low Energy is really excelling, and especially when we start talking about the trackers, it's all about these advertisements and the beacons. And I have no idea what I prompted AI about. I think it was to have some hunting dogs go hunt down a guy in a hot dog costume. Well, not so much.
I'm not sure those are hot dogs.
They're dogs, all right. And I have no idea what that costume is, but it looks like something Paul would wear on a weekend. Woohoo! Tuesdays, okay. All right. So Bluetooth Low Energy, especially when we're starting to talk about the trackers, is all about those beacons, those advertisements. Those beacon packets have some format so that we can identify that they are a beacon. They have some data that describes the type of the device and the applications and some of the services. And then even some individual data tied to the manufacturer-specific applications, such as potential keys and times and so forth. But turns out we don't need a whole heck of a lot of that data to start doing some of the discovery. So how does this work? Well, you've got a Bluetooth low-energy device out there. It's doing its beacon. It's sending that out into the air, and Bill found these really fancy animations. Yeah, so Bill's AirTag, or actually my AirTag over here.
Your AirTag,
That's
yeah.
my AirTag, because we don't want to swap those.
Yeah, we're giving Larry's AirTag out later. Yeah, to put in your suitcase.
So, yeah, for a good time, AirTag Larry. No, it's probably not a good time. Yeah. So beaconing out ends up with some hex in the beacon, which apparently only shows up once.
Oh, that's funny.
That's all right. There we go.
There we go.
All right, so looking at that data, we start seeing that there's some proportion towards the front, the FF4C0002, which is indicative of the individual manufacturer identifier, very similar to some of our named services and some of that when we start talking something like IP. So it's out there beaconing, it's sending this data out, and our devices are receiving it. Specifically in this case, our phones, specifically in the Apple ecosystem, are recording these beacons and reporting the location through the data collection on the iPhones up to the Find My network. So the beacons themselves, these little tags, have no direct connectivity into the internet, so they're not revealing the location. They are simply being observed by this giant sensor network all over the world. That giant sensor network is made up of iDevices, iPhones, laptops, and so forth. And I will say all over the world except for North Korea.
So what's interesting about this is if you really kind of abstract that, your phone already has a BLE tracking app installed, right? So what your phone is doing is it's already listening for those BLE advertisements, already parsing it out to determine what kind of advertisement this is. Is it a tracker? Is it your TV or whatever those things are? And if it follows the protocol definition, it then says this is a tracker. I'm going to take note of that and update the Find My network, right? So none of this is new research, right? But this is how these BLE trackers work.
Yeah. And a little bit here, we highlighted some specific stuff earlier with that individual hex. And if we tie that to the actual protocol decode, we can see that the FF indicates that this is a manufacturer-specific beacon and that it is using a specific identifier for company, and in this case, 4C00. And this one happens to be an iBeacon. So a little bit different than the AirTag, but also very similar in that it is identified as Apple. As a result, it is identified as Apple, so now we need to dig in a little bit more on the AirTags because it's a different application to be able to determine whether it's an iBeacon or an AirTag, and in fact, there are two different types of AirTags, registered and unregistered. So one tied to an account, one that is brand new, still out of the box, and not tied to a specific account.
So interesting story about that. I was like, I think it would be great if I brought an unregistered Apple AirTag, right? So that if we were starting to show a demo or whatever, you could see the differences of a registered and an unregistered AirTag. And then this morning, I realized, well, that would be a bad idea if someone were to claim that AirTag of themselves, and then I were to throw it in my bag and go home.
Then,
that's true.
Then,
Very perfect. That's actually.
Then I had a
idea.
dumb idea because this is actually unregistered.
Well, hey, somebody go get that.
So is this. So is this. Yeah. In any case. All right. So how do we find some of these stuff? Well, we can do this under Linux. In fact, it's actually pretty easy with a Bluetooth Low Energy enabled adapter using the built-in Blues tools with HCI dump and HCI tool using it for low energy scan. Now we were going to show this on the laptop, but let's
try it.
We're going to do it totally low budget. It's in a virtual machine here. So on my first side here, I've got the scan running, and then I'm going to run the HCI dump.
So I can see it just fine.
Yeah, so now you guys can see it not well at all. But, woohoo! So it's finding the advertisements on the left, and then it's decoding those. What's that? Yeah, it's not worth it. So we're finding Bluetooth Low Energy advertisements. We don't know which ones are AirTags, or we don't know which ones are trackers, and well, yeah, it's the matrix, right? We got to figure that stuff out. Now, certainly we can start doing some filtering on the command line and regex, and nobody told me there'd be regex this morning, right? We're not going to do that. We're regex as life, yeah, or not, right? So let's. Yeah, your Android phone does that. Thanks, Jay. But also, let's go find some trackers around your car with a laptop and a Bluetooth adapter and get your mom to do that, right? That's not going to be something that's going to work out. Maybe we could do this a little bit better. Bill, this is all you.
All right. Well, so what we did is we wanted to put together a device that met some certain criteria. Number one, we wanted to focus on something that was ESP 32 based. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, and it doesn't really matter. Really, all I want you to do is I want you to see the size of this device that I'm holding, right? So it's about the size of a postage stamp, right? It's a very small device. This is a full-on Arduino. Are most people comfortable? Have you heard about Arduinos, right? You may have already used them a little bit, but these are an ESP32 based system. But just for the sake of argument, from here on out, just consider this an Arduino, right? And so you guys may have already done work with Arduinos, right? So blinking LEDs, controlling sensors or motors or whatever. But you know that there is a very, very, very active ecosystem that makes it very, very easy for newbies to get into microcontroller development. Right? Has anybody never heard of an Arduino? Anybody never heard of Arduino?
How about an ESP32?
Yeah,
cool. All right.
That's awesome. But just for the sake, moving forward, the ESP32 is just an Arduino. That's how you need to consider it. So what's interesting is the Arduino, or the ESP32 Arduino environment also has, actually, it might be better if I do this, flip here.
You bring the camera up?
Yeah, bring the camera up.
Yep.
So, okay, so this is that device that I was just showing in my hand. What's really interesting is there's been an emerging, like, add-on boards. Like, so what I have here, right here, is a PIR sensor that just plugs right into the ESP32. And then now it will detect movement, right? There's all kinds of them, but here's a microphone, right? That just plugs right into it, and now your ESP is a microphone and can record audio.
And if they've got wireless capabilities, it can transmit that audio elsewhere.
Well, so what's really neat about the ESP32, Larry, and you may not know this, so what makes it different than an Arduino is, what does it have on board?
Wi-Fi, Bluetooth.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth right out of the gate. You don't have to add anything. It already has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth right out of the gate. This device right here, this postage stamp Arduino, costs about $1.50, right? They're super cheap, right? And so when Larry and I were looking at, well, what kind of a device would we like for the BLE tracker, we came across this device called the Cheap Yellow Display. So you can see it here. I've got it on the screen.
Yeah. So cheap yellow display, named really well, right? It's about $11 to $15. It's yellow, and it has a 2.8-inch LCD display on it.
Yeah,
we're really good at naming things, right?
Right.
It's cheap,
so
it's
that
yellow,
is,
it's got a
and
display.
actually, we didn't name that.
No, we didn't.
That's its name.
Yeah.
The name of this device is a cheap yellow display. On the back, Larry kind of showed it here, but this is our ESP32 right here. And if I flip back over to the presentation, if you're, uh-oh, my slideshow's gone away. Yeah, the Android.
Android phone can do that.
Thanks, Android. It says trying to connect. Awesome. Well, you guys can kind of, this is wonderful. This is going great. So,
Yeah. Well, don't worry. I got the next slide. So while you're finish up, and then I'll do the next slide. Then you can fix it. How's that?
All right. Well, actually, we skipped over this one, so I'm going to go back. So why did we talk? Why did we? I know that you guys can't see it. I'm trying my best here. Or not really. I'm kind of giving it half-ass.
Bill, you're not going to be invited next year.
I know.
Sorry.
Hey.
But I bet you're.
Hey, whose Wi-Fi is Hilton meeting? I'm going to use yours, okay? I'm going to give it a shot. Oh, no, I need an access. Oh. Okay. I trust all of this audience.
Bill's going to be wiping this laptop this afternoon.
Hey, can I have access to your Pineapple or an Android phone or whatever?
H-O.
No.
Capital H. Yay, demo fail. Bill, did you sacrifice the chicken this morning? I mean, we sacrificed a printer, but...
I was going to make a joke there, and I'm leaving it alone. All right, well, we're just going to deal with it. So when we take a look at this ESP32, we talked about that it's an Arduino and very small and you know, the size of a you know, a postage stamp. It does come with some sacrifices, right?
Keep going.
Yeah, so it does come, go ahead. So it does come with some sacrifices. So the processing speed may not be the same as a full-size Arduino. We have less GPIO pins available to us. We have a little bit less memory, than normally we would have with an Arduino. But still, this is a very, very capable device.
I don't want to keep going through all your windows because
I know.
don't know what kind of. Yeah, we don't want to know what your browser's got going on.
Okay. We'll give that a go.
Oh, what'd you do? There we go.
Hey,
Bill, you suck.
Thank you. I was like, can I get that, please? Let's hear it! Josh for the win!
Now let's see who. Let's see who remember browser autopone.
Yeah, right. Hey, I mean, this is only my work computer. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
So just looking here. All right, shut up. We're moving on. So also the CYD has expansion capabilities, right? So we have the way to access the GPIO pins. There's already a breakout for ribbon cables. There's already a speaker on board, an RGB on board, and it has micro SD. This is a really, really good board to use in our project.
For $11.
For $11. Touch screen, that screen on top is touch screen. It's amazing. So this is not my flowchart, but it is a great flowchart to look at. It's the best way to identify a CYD, a cheap yellow display, if you're going to be on AliExpress or Temu or anything like this. Following this, so is it yellow and does it have a display? Like, yes. Is it 2.8 inches? Yes. And then does it have a resistive touchscreen, meaning that, it kind of sucks? Yep. Does it only have micro USB? Kind of.
All right. Some other things you might want to add. These things are powered over USB. Now you got to plug this thing into a battery pack or a computer to power it and all that type of stuff. But maybe we want to be able to provide this to somebody so they can walk around their car and their home and see if some of these things are here to make it handheld. Now, I haven't done this, and we'll see a project that I used one of these for that is unrelated, that I really needed to, but I ran out of time. So we can actually power some of these standalones. Typical lithium battery we're going to find is 3.7 volts. These devices really want 5 volts to power them well, so we need to use something like a buck converter. And then if you just use the buck converter with the JST cable to connect it, there's no charging circuit, so now maybe you make batteries explode. But I discovered this all-in-one charger device that has the buck converter. You can plug it in USB-C and we'll charge the battery appropriately with appropriate monitoring and all that type of stuff. So you may want to add some of these types of things to make something a little bit more portable. All right, Bill.
All right, well, I guess I'm back up. So I just really kind of want to show you, so this one is 101 level stuff here, but if you've never seen Arduino before, I just wanted to show that this is really the Arduino ecosystem, thank you, is very, very beginner friendly. There are tons of tutorials out there. They make it super easy to get the software and super easy for you to program these devices. So if you just go out to arduino.cc, you can download the IDE. As you can see here, really the important thing on this slide is it's available for whatever operating system you're running. And and I'm not sure if it shows it on here, but they also have a way to run it on Chromebooks, right? So
But you know what you can't do?
What?
Run it on your Android phone.
Oh, that's right. After you download the Arduino software, in order to be able to program any kind of ESP32 or any one of those types of boards, you do have to download some additional board managers. It's simple. The instructions of this are online everywhere. It won't be hard, but you do need to make sure that you add this step where you add this little library to the Arduino software to be able to program the boards.
So it knows how to find the board, how to interact with it, and upload software to it.
Yeah, and so what that looks like is when you're in the Arduino software, you just go and you select the board that you're going to program.
And there's going to be about 1 billion of them listed. So
Yeah.
which one do I choose, Bill?
Right, well, and not only was there 1 billion before, but we just added more, right?
We added 11 billion.
Right, so as you can see here, I'm just selecting ESP32, and then as that tree expands, we're just going to select the ESP dev module. So you may see your specific board listed there. If your very specific board is listed, use that, of course. But we find that just the dev module generally works.
Yep, absolutely.
From there, if you're really interested in this project, and we're actually going to show you it running and those kind of things too, we've made it really, really easy for you to get started, right? So we've published the GitHub. It's up right now. That the code that we're going to show running on this it's published right now. It's on my GitHub, so it's right there. But really, all you have to do is clone the GitHub. And then just go hack some shit with it, right? So everything in there, we've made it very, very user-friendly, beginner-friendly. There is one little bit that you have to replace a file, but we walk through that really, really easy. But this code is available.
And it's for the display driver. So
yeah, it's the display driver. Once you have the GitHub cloned,
open it with your Arduino environment.
You open it with your Arduino and you press the program button. Like that's really, you connect your Arduino and you press the program button. It truly is that easy. So I just want to make sure that we really, really do encourage you to try this out. What you're going to find is that this ecosystem is so beginner friendly, and you can do some really, really cool things with hardware. I showed you some modules earlier, that there's all kinds of sensors. There's all kinds of equipment that you can connect to it and control with an Arduino, and it makes it super simple.
Now, don't worry. Oh, go back one. Switch over to the camera.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So, great. We're going to dig into some of the code a little bit, but does it... So, does it actually work? Like, a couple of steps. Install the Arduino IDE environment, add the boards, download some code, pull it in the IDE, and press program. Does it work and does it detect tags? Well, let's see. Booting up. Look at that, tags already. I apologize, it's like filming this with a potato. It's a little dark up here, so let the autofocus see what happens. But yeah, it's detecting some tags. The display needs some work yet, but it's telling me it can find right up in the top right-hand corner, that little yellow circle. It says that it finds 57 devices currently for between AirTags and a bunch of other BLE trackers. Now that said, it's also a little bit more inflated. 135 from Paul, but you started it a little bit earlier. No. Yeah. It's not on Android. It's actually on a cheap yellow display that Paul couldn't get working, and he needed my help with. Because see, your Android phone couldn't do that either.
Well, actually, show yours. You've got a cool little case and everything. It's pretty cool.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, 3D printed case. This is one of the other versions that has the USB-C connector. So there's a couple of different versions out there. It will run on all of these. Now, these numbers are maybe a little bit inflated because, well, all y'all are here. All y'all have iPhones. Those also act as AirTags. Because if you joined your Mac or have you joined your iPhone to the Find My network so that you can locate your phone when you lose it, it's now an AirTag, right? Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, and there might be other interesting things.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, so how do we detect really gross hot dogs? All right, so looking at the code a little bit here, we've got a dirty, dirty for loop, right? It takes a BLE packet, a BLE advertisement, and it looks at the BLE advertisement for some of those manufacturer indicators. Specifically looking at the first if payload line, it's looking for 4C00, Apple. The next one is also 4C00, Apple, but Apple has a couple of different applications. We don't want iBeacons, we want AirTags. So the next portion of that payload, there's a 07 in hex and a 12 in hex. One of those is for a registered AirTag, the other one is for an unregistered AirTag.
You guys probably remember when we showed you that packet that we were able to capture and see how to decode that, right?
Yep. And when we originally started looking at this project, it was AirTags only. And then we realized there are so many other cheap tag things. So when you lose your device, you can have this tag on it. You lose your dog, you lose your backpack. You might have some other manufacturer's type of stuff like Tile. And guess what? Tile has its own unique manufacturer ID, and we don't need to dig into the application. Why? What does Tile make? They make trackers. They make hot dogs. Yeah, they make trackers. Okay. So now let's go detect all of the hot dogs, or all the trackers. So now all we need to start doing is adding the individual manufacturers. So I went about this the hard way. I fired up my Nordic NRF 52840 into Wireshark and started doing some packet captures, and I bought a bunch of tags so I could get the advertisements and the beacons, and started trying to dig into the protocol and figure out what identified them, and turns out it was really all about just the manufacturer ID. So I went about this the hard way, looking at this stuff in Wireshark. And on the left, one of the service class IDs or of FEEC for the individual manufacturer indicates as Tile. And I'm like, well, why did it populate Tile? Well, because these are assigned by the Bluetooth Special Interest Group. And they have a document that specifies all of these, so I didn't need to do this the hard way. Okay. Some other fun things that with the tags that I bought to start doing this, there was one specifically from Millie that said it is Find My compatible. Do you know how they make it Find My compatible? 4C00. Yeah, they identify their devices from Apple. Yeah, it's a clone. I can imagine their intellectual property lawyers at Apple are having a field day with this. They're just identifying as an Apple device because that's the way they programmed it. Other manufacturers, not so much. All right, so how do we detect even more hot dogs? Okay, so this is what Paul's next Tesla is going to look like, and this is what AI thinks a hot dog-shaped Bluetooth-enabled Tesla looks like. This is priceless. Okay. Yep. I also maybe told it a little bit to. I also maybe told it to make it look like the Wienermobile, which, for the record, Oscar Mayer is hiring drivers so that you can drive the Wienermobile cross country if you want to. Okay. So, yeah, how do we detect more of this type of stuff? Let's go look at the documentation from the Bluetooth Special Interest Group for the 16-bit service class UUIDs. Just look for the companies that have those that are registered that make trackers, such as Millie and Chipolo and Tile and all that type of stuff. You don't have to do this the hard way. You don't have to do packet sniffing. You just need to find some stuff. Well, now we can even maybe turn this evil, or a little bit more evil. You don't care about AirTags, right? But you want to know when Teslas drive by your house. So take one of these things and put the Tesla UUID services in. Now you can have a Tesla detector. And I was sitting there thinking about, well, now I can tell when Paul drives by my house with his Tesla, or any other Tesla for the matter. But what other personal privacy implications could this be because of some of our Bluetooth low energy beaconing devices? Now I'm thinking about what other types of things are people wearing that have some indicator that knowing that privacy might be broken about some of their health conditions. Anybody have an insulin pump that's Bluetooth Low Energy enabled? You don't need to tell me, but they exist. How about folks that are maybe insulin-dependent diabetics or non-insulin-dependent diabetics that do continuous glucose monitoring? Dexcom G7 is Bluetooth Low Energy. Ask me how I know this. I'm wearing one right now, right? Well, your fingers are so soft. Well, it's Palm Olive if you're soaking in it. That's probably a joke that goes well beyond some of the people in this room, right? So now think about the types of things that we can detect based on some of the manufacturers that may have some other personal privacy implications. I'm type 2 diabetic. I'll tell you that right now. That's why I'm wearing a glucose monitor, right? Hey, but I don't care if you know. Let's talk about it freely. It's a great journey. Not great journey, it's not, but it's a journey that all of us can learn from, and I'm happy to share that type of stuff. There are other people that might be really damaging to know that type of stuff. All right, Bill. Is this me or you?
Well, so
I think we kind of covered
Yeah, I
that,
think
right?
this was me. So, okay, yeah, let's go back.
So what if you don't want to do just Bluetooth low energy trackers and you've got some of these cheap yellow displays? What other things can you do with it?
Yeah, I just want to go back
Okay.
real quick. So, like, if you are the Android guy, I'm like, oh, my Android can do this. Like,
Oh, it's that
already,
guy again.
yeah, it's that guy again. It's Paul. There's other projects for the CYD that are also available and really, really cool to check out. And so, like, if you happen to get a cheap yellow display and you want to try out other things, we just wanted to call out some of the other big projects that are out. For example, there's Marauder. You guys may have already seen Marauder running on maybe a flipper with an add-on board, those kind of things. It does all the DOF and all the Wi-Fi
A whole bunch
tricks.
of Wi-Fi attacks, yep.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a dedicated board using an ESP32 chipset.
Well,
which is the
your
same
CYD
one.
already has one built in.
Yep. So there's a port for the Marauder firmware to the cheap yellow display.
So Bruce is another kind of like a penetration testing type firmware. It's very, very similar to like a build your own flipper, right? Again, you can just drop these firmware. We didn't make these. We're just highlighting that these other firmwares exist. You can drop them right onto the cheap yellow display, and they work awesome.
Back to using your microcontroller for good or evil, right? You've got this thing. Maybe you use it for some tracker detecting. It's reprogrammable. Use it for other stuff too. Have fun with it. Buy lots of them, right? And one that Paul actually made sure we knew about as well is that you maybe throw 3 or 4 different firmwares on this type of stuff and you have to reprogram this thing every time. No, use the M5 stick launcher. They actually ported the M5 stick launcher to the cheap yellow display, so you can put a bunch of sets of firmware on SD card, and you can switch between the different firmwares after reboot. And it uses a touch screen. It's got a web updater. Lots of fun stuff to happen there. So multi-purpose, all on the SD card as well.
But this thing has a screen on it, right? And does it have to be a hacking device, Larry?
No. I think about all the fantastic people in this community, and we're by nature very creative. Okay? And we can start using these things for stuff outside of the security community. So other maker things you can do for your cheap yellow display. I've seen people use them as an ODB2 display for their vehicles, so they can get coolant temperature and oil temperature and all that type of stuff. I've seen someone on GitHub use it as a DRO for their lathe, so that they can get precise, repeatable measurements by measuring where your cutting element is and all of that type of stuff. And I had one that I'm a Star Wars bounder. So not cosplay, bound. I do my own character, and that's the only way you can do it at the Disney parks. So as part of that, I wanted a nice little wrist-mounted display that had targeting computer and all that type of stuff on it. And I actually found one of these things on Etsy with a cheap yellow display that rotated through a bunch of images from the SD card, and they were charging $99 for it. That is a lot of hot dogs. I happen to have some cheap yellow display and a free afternoon, so now you can do this for $11 because there's some code out there. It needs some documentation, but I didn't actually end up using as part of my my bound. We went over to Disney over Christmas, mostly because I would have had to like take one of these battery packs and stuff it up my sleeve, and I'm already wearing enough crap that I don't need to add more to it. So I didn't get the standalone battery. And quite honestly, I put the gauntlet, the wristband together in about 15 minutes with some other working tools in my workshop, and it's crap. It doesn't really fit well. So more to come. All right. Some call to action, right? We made some progress. We did some stuff. But we very much encourage you, if you start using this, to help us make it better. And in fact, we started with some projects that were out there that we started to make better, from Matthew Kukanich, specifically around his first forays into the AirTag scanner on the cheap yellow display. Some things that we need to do. The display is awful, right? It shows you like the first 5, and then it scrolls off the screen, and there's no ability to scroll. So you can see that there's a bunch of tags, but it doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. It also spits data out on the serial port. The serial port data doesn't necessarily match what's on the screen, and it's a little garbage, but you actually get more data, and there's some work to do. There's also only a couple of tag types. I think it does Milli, Chipolo, air tags of both varieties, and Tile currently, but there's a bunch of other manufacturers out there. Yeah, we'd love to see more folks contribute, and sure, we can go to the Bluetooth SIG document and grab some of those, but we don't necessarily know all the names and can't buy them all. So the other one is, when we start adding multiple tracker types, we then start ending up with potentially way too much data. It might be nice that we could, have a nice little set of checkboxes. Hey, I only want to search for air tags, so it only does that part of the for loop. So it might be nice to do that. Or we could just create a whole bunch of firmwares, just individual stuff, and use Launcher. Well, that's kind of a pain. So there's work to be done. But I think that's a great opportunity for us to encourage you to get into some of this use of microcontrollers and so forth.
I just want to add real quick, you don't have to, right? So if this is something that you're interested in, if this is something that you want to give it a try, the code's ready to go. What we just showed up here is ready to go. Go and play. But because Arduino is so beginner friendly, we also want to encourage, pull requests, just development on the platform. If you're interested, go for it.
All right. So question. Are there any of the students here that were sponsored to come? The Schmoodents? How many? In the back? Okay, come on down front. Free cheap yellow displays. Oh, the batteries? Well, yeah, you're on your own for that one. After we're wrapping up, too, we've got 3D printed cases as well, so you're welcome to some 3D printed cases. Take one, pass them down. Got another one, too. I'll happily sell some of those afterwards, and quite honestly, I don't want to bring them home. I want my suitcase to be empty, so we'll make sure we get rid of these. I started the weekend with 50. I was supposed to have 150, but thanks, AliExpress, getting your stuff stuck in customs. Okay. All right, another one, Bill, before we have to wrap up here.
Okay.
Who traveled the furthest to get here? All right, who drove? All right, you're out.
Wait, let's start here.
No,
well, let's start here. Is there anyone from outside of the United States? Oh, we got one over here.
Put them up high. All right. Just 2? 3? All right, yeah, come on down. You're the next connection.
We did no verification, right? Just they raised their hand.
Awesome. Yeah. Anyone else?
We got one more.
I'm not going to throw it to you. Here, someone take this back to him. Nice. All right. Well, we want to say thank you. ShmooCon, it's been a blast. I know that my career probably wouldn't have been where it was without ShmooCon. I think my first ShmooCon was ShmooCon2025. I spoke through the kindness of Dr. Sergey Bradis at 3, and it has been an amazing ride since then, and I hate to see it go, but we'll see you at the next one, whatever it is.
Yeah. Again, I also want to say my thanks to Bruce and Heidi. You guys put on an amazing show, as well as all of the volunteers and everybody. Thank you so much for coming to talk this morning. We love you all.